We live in an age of miracles. Lifespans have doubled in a century. Poverty rates plummeted. We carry supercomputers in our pockets. Yet beneath this progress, something feels deeply wrong. According to the World Health Organization's 2021 report, anxiety disorders have tripled globally since the 1990s. A 2023 Pew Research survey found that 40% of millennials describe their lives as meaningless. Meanwhile, the CDC warns that suicide rates in wealthy nations have surged by 33% this century. How did we become so adept at conquering the external world, yet so lost within ourselves? Materialism tells us reality is just atoms. Reductionism reduces life to equations. But when we see ourselves as nothing more than biological machines, is it any wonder we feel like disposable parts in a cosmic assembly line? This isn't a rejection of science, it's a challenge. What if the philosophies that propelled modernity are also stripping away our sense of purpose and meaning? In this episode, we'll trace how materialism and reductionism reshaped humanity's story, and why that story might be missing the chapters that make us truly human. For centuries, Western civilization's story was dictated by the Church, a universe of divine purpose, angels, and eternal judgment. But in the 16th century, cracks in this narrative began to show. When Galileo's telescope revealed moons orbiting Jupiter, it wasn't just a discovery, it was defiance. Science began dismantling dogma, trading scripture for equations. René Descartes split mind from body, declaring, "I think, therefore I am." Isaac Newton reduced the cosmos to a clockwork of gears and gravity. The world was no longer a sacred mystery, it was a machine. The European Enlightenment deepened this mechanistic worldview. Philosopher Julien Offray de la Mettrie called humans machines made of flesh. Karl Marx reframed history as class warfare over resources. Charles Darwin stripped life of divine intent, leaving only survival's cold calculus. Science freed the West from superstition, but as philosopher Friedrich Nietzsche warned in his 1882 work, The Gay Science, God is dead, God remains dead, and we have killed him. The death of divine purpose left a void. If life had no inherent meaning, could we bear the weight of creating our own? By the 20th century, materialism reigned supreme. Biologist Jacques Monod called life a gypsy in an indifferent cosmos. Richard Dawkins reduced humans to lumbering robots enslaved by selfish genes. We mastered atoms but lost our story. Max Weber's disenchantment of the world became reality, a universe where science explained storms but not sorrow. Science gave us power over nature but no compass for meaning, no answers to the questions that haunt us. Why are we here? Does anything truly matter? Nietzsche's warning became a prophecy. Without God or grand narrative, the stage was set for modernity's existential vacuum, a crisis we'll unravel next. Materialism and reductionism didn't just reshape our worldview, they rewired our minds. In 1897, sociologist Emile Durkheim coined the term anomie, a state of normlessness where society's moral compass collapses. Today, this crisis has gone global. The World Health Organization reports that depression and anxiety disorders cost the global economy $1 trillion annually. In the U.S., 46% of adults under 35 feel numb to life, according to a 2023 APA survey. How did the mechanistic lens of reality leave so many of us feeling like ghosts in the machine? Materialism promised mastery over nature, and it delivered. We eradicated smallpox, built AI, and cracked the human genome. But Harvard psychologist Steven Pinker admits The more we conquer suffering, the more sensitized we become to it. Evolution wired us to seek meaning, not just survival. When science reduces love to oxytocin and ambition to dopamine, we're left with what philosopher John Vervaeke calls the meaning crisis, a world that answers how, but never why. Here's the catch. Reductionism's greatest triumph, breaking life into parts, is also its fatal flaw. Your consciousness, just neurons. Your grief, an amygdala misfire. Your dreams, evolutionary flukes. Yet, as psychologist Carl Jung warned, man cannot stand a meaningless life. A 2020 study in the Journal of Humanistic Psychology found that individuals who view themselves as biological machines report 30% higher rates of existential anxiety. When we reduce ourselves to code, we delete the coder, the I that asks, what does it all mean? This fragmentation birthed materialism's sibling, consumerism, the belief that meaning can be bought. Ads sell us fantasies. This car will make you free. This cream will make you loved. But a 2022 meta-analysis in Nature Human Behavior reveals that materialistic individuals are 20% more likely to suffer chronic dissatisfaction. Philosopher Byung-Chul Han frames it starkly. The neoliberal subject is entrepreneur and commodity in one, exhausting itself in the pursuit of itself. We've become rats in a maze, chasing rewards that vanish when caught. This brings us to the heart of modernity's crisis. French existentialist Albert Camus called it the absurd, the clash between our hunger for meaning and the universe's silence. Neuroscientist Sam Harris, a staunch materialist, concedes consciousness is the one thing in this universe that cannot be an illusion, and also the one thing that seems impossible to explain. We're trapped between two truths. We need meaning to thrive, but materialism declares it a fairy tale. But what if we've been looking through the wrong lens? What if the universe isn't a machine, but a mosaic, where every fragment holds the imprint of the whole? In his Metaphysics, Aristotle observed, the whole is something besides the parts. 2 millennia later, quantum physicist David Bohm echoed this in his 1980 book, Wholeness and the Implicate Order, arguing that reality is a hidden harmony where even distant particles are entangled. Niels Bohr's Copenhagen interpretation shattered the myth of isolated objects. Electrons exist not as dots, but as probabilities in a relational field. Science, it turns out, had been whispering for centuries. To understand anything, you must see how it dances with everything else. In 2005, neuroscientist Sebastian Jung launched the Reconnecting project, a massive effort to map not just individual neurons, but the trillions of connections between them. Like tracing the roots of a forest, Jung's team found that consciousness emerges not from single cells, but from their collective conversation. You are your connectomy, he declared, a network so vast it defies reduction. Long before labs, the Buddha taught dependent origination, the truth that nothing exists in isolation. In the Tao of Physics, physicist Fritjof Capra revealed how Eastern philosophies like Taoism mirror quantum insights. The universe is a unified, inseparable web. Even Spinoza, the 17th century philosopher, saw nature as Deus sive natura, God and the universe as one substance. These weren't mystic musings. Ecologists now revive dying forests by studying how wolves shape rivers, how fungi communicate between trees, a practice the Journal of Ecology calls systems-based restoration. Materialism's greatest irony? Its own discoveries undermine it. When Anton Zeilinger won the 2022 Nobel Prize for proving particles influence each other across galaxies, he said, "Reality is fundamentally non-local." Biologists like Barbara McClintock showed genes listen to their environment, a discovery that earned her a Nobel in 1983. Even Google engineers now use mindfulness programs, citing studies that meditation strengthens neural integration. As Carl Sagan wrote in Cosmos, we are a way for the universe to know itself. The message isn't mystical, it's mathematical. Quantum entanglement, ecological interdependence, neural networks all point to a truth physicist Arthur Eddington captured in 1928. The universe is not a universe of things, but a universe of events. We are not cogs in a machine, but threads in a tapestry. Or as Sagan put it, the cosmos is within us. We are made of star stuff. Materialism and reductionism gave us power over disease, over distance, over the atom. But power without purpose is a compass without a north, spinning endlessly, mastering the how, but deaf to the why. The paradox is that science, in its relentless pursuit of truth, now reveals a universe far richer than mere machinery. The same equations that describe quantum entanglement also echo in the neural symphonies of our brains, in the mycelial networks beneath forests, in the gravitational dances of galaxies. Einstein once wrote, "The most beautiful thing we can experience is the mysterious. It is the source of all true art and science. Meaning, it seems, is not an illusion, a compass pointing us toward connection." Ecologists revive barren lands by reintroducing wolves, understanding that predators shape rivers as much as rain. Neurologists map consciousness not as a brain in a jar, but as a dialogue between cells, environment, and culture. Startups in glass-walled skyscrapers now design offices around sunlight and greenery, admitting productivity blooms when we honor our primal roots. This isn't mysticism, it's maturity, to accept that a heart cell is a biological pump and that grief can fracture it. The universe is not a silent machine. It is a conversation, one where supernovas forge the iron in our blood, where every act of curiosity or kindness sends ripples through the web. Astronomer Carl Sagan called a universe gifted with self-awareness. Our existential crisis is not a death sentence, it's an invitation to wield the scalpel of science and the brush of wonder, to see the world not just through a lens of parts, but through the artist's eye, where fragments coalesce into patterns and patterns into purpose. The machine was never silent. We only needed to learn its language. We began this journey by asking why modernity feels so hollow, why anxiety thrives in an age of abundance. The answer, perhaps, lies not in rejecting science, but in expanding it, to see the universe not as a cold void, but as Carl Sagan's cosmic ocean, where every atom in our bodies carries the memory of ancient stars. Materialism gave us tools, but connection gives them purpose. If this exploration resonated with you, share your thoughts. Where do you find meaning in a world obsessed with parts? How do you navigate the tension between logic and wonder? Share if you've had moments that felt strangely connected, a dream, a coincidence, a sign. Are we particles or partners in a cosmic conversation? Let's discuss in the comments. Subscribe to Kaleidoscope to join us next time, where we'll try to understand if there is a hidden bridge between physics and the psyche. Until then, remember, the cosmos is not above you, it is within you. Every atom, every story, every heartbeat echoes the same truth. You are never truly separate. You are the universe, learning to tell its own tale.